Okay, try this real quick. Go to any worship or Christian hip hop playlist on Spotify right now. Title, I don't care where you go. Hit shuffle. Can you tell me who's playing without looking at your screen? That's my point. The problem isn't talent. Talent definitely exists. The problem is that most faith based artists are unconsciously copying a sound that they're listening to over and over and over again. We're trapped in a bubble. And instead of developing their own sound, they're copying somebody else. We got to break out of this point.
The music industry gatekeeps information. The shift opens the gate. Welcome to the shift. So, last episode, we talked about who you are: a creative, a business owner, a minister. Today, we're going deeper into the creative side. What do you actually sound like? And does anyone else sound like that?
Oh my gosh, so many people, Dre. Well, let me ask you something. Let's put it in perspective real quick. When you start working with new artists, what's one of the first questions you ask them?
That's easy. I ask, who are your artist influences and who are you listening to? What this does is it gives me a real idea of what artists are like sonically. And that brings me into a point that I really want to make and to define a term known as sonic identity. Sonic identity equals your voice plus your influences plus your message plus your production aesthetic. It's the combination that makes you recognizable.
Okay, so an exercise may help this land a bit. So let's try this. Let's name three artists you love. And then next, write down what it would sound like if each of them made a song about you, your
Mm,
life, your testimony, your message. Once you have that all written out, I want you to identify where each of those things overlap. That intersection represents your sound and your lane. It's really that simple. This is more aligned than anything you're currently making because this represents you.
wow. You know, I like that. And with that, there is this danger of what I call the worship industrial complex. When every sound from every song starts sounding like the last elevation or Bethel, every release sounds the same because artists think that that's what Christian music has to sound like. So, really, the question becomes, what does your sonic identity sound like?
Right. Because from a label or manager perspective, your unique sound is not just an artistic preference. Your uniqueness is actually the business advantage. That's how you're going to make your money. That's how you're going to appeal to your niche. This is what people are missing to avoid the algorithm traps and are honestly burning out way too soon.
Wow, you talked about niche. Listen, here's the lie: if I niche down, fewer people will listen. But the truth, if you try to reach everyone, you actually reach no one. Listen, Lecrae didn't try to make worship music. He made hip hop from a biblical worldview. And that specificity is what built his audience.
Right. Because your niche isn't just a genre, it's all the things, right? It's genre, it's message, it's audience, it's your flyness, it's your aesthetic. Here's the niche: acoustic worship for college students that's addressing the ongoing process of doubt. Christian music, unfortunately, is not just good enough. It's not narrowing it down enough, right? We're missing things right now in the Christian space. We're missing, dare I say, more Christian R&B, which I know is, a hard one for people to digest. I just feel like people aren't getting niche enough, right?
Right. And there's, we're starting to see um, some more Christian EDM. Um,
Yes, Christian
there's,
EDM. We need more of that.
we
That's a good place to
definitely
gather
do.
too.
We definitely do. I think I think one of the things that we know both you and I can agree on is that we're definitely missing some dynamics in Christian hip hop,
Oh my
and
goodness. Yes.
that's something that Christian hip hop has been around for so long, and yet we find that there's still serious stagnation. I think every artist. would benefit and could benefit from a simple question of what are your peers hungry for that hasn't been created yet?
That's really good. I like that. I feel like we need to marinate on that for a second. Please,
Hmm.
guys. I know some of you are listening and thinking, like, well, what if people don't like my actual sound? Like what I genuinely sound like? Then you're, first of all, you're missing the authenticity train. You got to jump on this. But what if my real voice isn't good enough or isn't what they want to hear? Again, you're missing the authenticity train. You don't need to sound like everyone. You only need to sound like yourself. You are the only one of you, and we need you to give the world that part. The
Mm,
thing that makes you different is, again, the thing that brings the most value.
man, I agree. The artists that we want to work with at Paradigm Music aren't the ones that sound like everyone else. And I'm sure artists you've worked with don't sound like everyone else. You gotta own your lane and be you. Wow.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Absolutely.
okay. Okay. So here's this week's assignment: record a 60-second voice memo describing your sound to a stranger who has never heard your music.
Mm.
No song titles, no I sound like. Just describe these three things your music lives in: the feeling, the world, the story. If you can't do it, you haven't found your lane yet. And that's okay. That's what this exercise reveals.
Dre, can I try it real quick? Maybe just to give an example. I
Sure,
want to
go
see if I
ahead.
can do this. Okay, 60-second description. Let me model my own self. So, what the world needs to hear, the feeling, the story. Okay. I want my audience to feel absolutely at home. I
Mm,
want it to be warm and neutral colors. I want it to feel like you could cozy up. I want when you hear me that you feel like something resonated, like we've known each other from a past life. Like we've done this together for a long time. Like your grandmother and my grandmother were cooking something. I want it to feel like people are going to walk away with something tangible, constructive, application. Like there's something to apply with what you hear from what I have to share. I want it to feel like a good time. I want it to be palm trees and sunshine. I definitely feel like this warm, cozy place for me is somewhere near a beach. If you know me, you know that's real.
wow. That's exactly, wow. Fire,
You think so?
fire,
Okay, okay, okay,
fire,
okay.
fire,
Well, thank you for
fire.
letting me try. You know, I'm not an artist, but I am a creative. At least part of my brain is. So, but I suggest you guys at home, especially if you're an artist, especially in your producer, you're trying to find your sound, you're trying to find your lane. Try this at home and let us know how it goes.
Hmm.
And thank you again for joining us here on The Shift. Please hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already, and join us on High Note to check out the full annotated version.
So, you know who you are, you know what you sound like. Now, let's talk about the thing you're actually selling. Episode 3: the song is a product. And yep, we're talking about money.
Get that money. We already know for who. And of course, if this episode shifted anything inside of you, we ask that you just share with at least one artist or producer friend who needs to hear it. And we'll catch you again next Thursday. Peace.
Peace.